A lot of people don't know this, but Michael Saylor once collapsed MicroStrategy from $33 to $40 back in 2000. Let's listen.
Crypto traders are freaking out right now because they're just finding out that Michael Saylor back in 2021 has a history of crashing MicroStrategy, going from $333 per share to 45 cents per share in 2001 after the dot-com bubble crash. And everyone back then also thought that he was a genius too, but it just turns out that it was a massive accounting scam driven by convertible bonds. Convertible bonds, does that sound familiar? Oh wait, that's how he borrows against his MSTR investors to buy Bitcoin right now. And the really funny part about this is that, they're running out of money. If you look at their buy lots from December to now in January, again, if he's so incredibly bullish on Bitcoin, and as Bitcoin is pulling on back, why is he buying less? He went from buying in the billions, 2.1, December 9th, 1.5, December 16th, to now the most recent purchase, 101 million. We all know one thing, Bitcoin's crash will always happen. It has happened in the past before, and it will happen once again. Crypto bros don't want to accept it, but I'm super excited to see Bitcoin retrace down to 30,000, of course, to maybe even buy more. I want to remind you that the only people that freak out during a crash are those who did not prepare. It shouldn't scare you because if you're incredibly bullish on Bitcoin, it should just excite you because you can buy more at cheaper levels, right?
I want to talk a little bit about MicroStrategy before we continue. Like I said, as I invested in MicroStrategy before Trump got elected, if some of you guys know me on Instagram, I actually made it public because I believed that because of Polymarket, I had Trump at 60, 70%, 80% win right before the election. I saw an opportunity and I said, up to 80%, MicroStrategy's options are undervalued. Bought some MicroStrategy. I just made $120,000 in 2 days before the election. Now, I sold them immediately after. People said, why didn't you keep them? Or why didn't you just buy MicroStrategy stock? And that was just an opportunity. That don't mean I believe in MicroStrategy. Now, I like what Michael Saylor is doing. I don't hate him as a person. He's a well-spoken man. He's an advocate for crypto and Bitcoin. Really Bitcoin, because he's a Bitcoin maxi, a triple maxi. I like what he's doing in the world of crypto. I listen to him a lot. A lot of what he says I take to heart. But I also don't like MicroStrategy as a corporate or company structure. Because to be honest, it's an illegal trust. Now, what if I told you that I got a bunch of gold in my garage? Let's say I got $1 million worth of gold in my garage, and it's all owned by LLC. I don't do nothing else. I don't do no work. I don't do nothing. I don't have any operations. I don't sell anything, products or services. And I come to you and I tell you, I want to sell you half my LLC. You say, Armando, what do you do? Oh, nothing. I got this gold in my garage, $1 million worth of gold. So I'm going to sell you half of my company for $1.3 million. Anybody would see, a rational person would see that doesn't make sense. Why would I buy a company that only has assets for at a premium price? $1.3 million for half of the gold. Half the gold's only worth $500,000. So I'm paying almost a 3 times premium, three times for that gold. A 2-time premium. Almost 2.5 times roughly. Nobody does that. But somehow with MicroStrategy, they do. MicroStrategy has a certain amount of Bitcoin. They do nothing else now. And then they have a stock that's owners of that Bitcoin, and they sell you the stock at a higher price than their total holdings of Bitcoin. That doesn't make sense. Traditionally in the markets, what happens with companies like that, we saw with Grayscale, I actually predicted that back in 2020 with Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, Grayscale Ethereum Trust, is a lot of people were buying those because they didn't have direct access to Bitcoin. It was harder back in those days. It wasn't that hard, but it was harder for most people to grasp, I guess. You could buy those trusts in your Bitcoin, on Robinhood and all these other apps. But so what happens in the up times is those things that are connected to Bitcoin, those trusts and MicroStrategy, companies like that, they go up at a higher rate than Bitcoin. A lot of people buy in. Now, if you don't buy in early, you buy in late, you're bought into a premium pricing, which means that the price that you got an intrinsic value, which means that's the value of the stocks that represent that Bitcoin. Then you got a premium price on top of that, which means that you're paying extra money because you really want that stock. The problem with premiums is that they collapse in the down times. So if MicroStrategy is trading at 3 times what its real value is, let's say the stock is worth $50. I don't know what MicroStrategy is going for. Let's say the stock's worth 50. Now it's trading at 150. You buy in at 100, you make $50, you hold it. Now you think you're doing good. When the market retracts, you lose all that premium price plus some of the intrinsic value. So MicroStrategy can have a drawdown of 70% when only Bitcoin had a drawdown of 20, 30% because of that premium pricing. Premiums collapse when the market crashes. And the second thing is, if it's a company that only holds Bitcoin and that's all they do, then that's a trust. That's a trust. It's not a company. And you have to file as a trust with the SEC. You can't file as a company and run as a trust. That's an illegal trust. That means that you don't have to do all the rules of having a trust. So he actually is running an illegal trust, I believe, or unregistered trust. I shouldn't say illegal, unregistered trust. It's almost like misrepresenting people. MicroStrategy is not a company. All it has is Bitcoin. It has a dude going around advocating for it. Now, the whole company could just be him himself. Now, I know it's not, but it could. It's not a company. Stocks, remember this, a stock, when you buy a stock in a company, you're expecting that company to create value out of people, labor, and intellectual property or reselling or resources. So let's say, for example, a company that pulls out gold. Let's say a company that takes like raw materials like Apple. So Apple takes silicone, they take cobalt, they take plastic. That's worth like, let's say $5 for all that material. They built all this material, they reorganized this material into an iPhone. Now the iPhone is worth $1,000. It took some labor and stuff to do that. So the company value is based on their ability to turn this raw material into a phone, right? So you're investing in the intellect, you're investing in the ability for them to take something that's invaluable to valuable. That's what a stock is, right? Is that you're hoping that they can grow those operations. And sometimes with tech companies, those operations can grow exponentially because with tech, not iPhones because it's hardware, they also got software too, but with tech, especially software, your cost to maintain it stay relatively flat, but your profits go up. So it's an exponential growth. That's why tech companies a lot of times are valued at many times multiple what their revenue and profits are, because tech companies do have a potential to grow a lot. Because you make a software product and you have 10 people running the software. Then as there's more and more people that buy your software, you may still be able to run that software because it's a single point of production. You may still be able to run that. But just Instagram ran with 4 people for the first 6, 7 years until Meta went along and bought them. So it's possible to run these things with a small amount of people and still make a lot of money. So that growth is exponential compared to the cost. Now with hardware, you need to do things, let's say for example, a tire repair store. You need more people to, every time a new set of tires come in, you need more people to do it. So the growth is like this. It's not as exponential as, let's say, a tech company is. He says buying Ethereum. How long have I been live? What's the count at right now? How long? Does it say it on there? Yeah. I need a count. I need a timer. What do you guys think about the new set for the people that are just joining? I'd love to have feedback. If you follow me on Instagram, Tall Guy Tycoon, TALGUYTYCON, drop me some comments, leave me some DMs. I'll check them after the live. If you like it, don't like it, some things we could do better. I would love to hear from you guys. 45 minutes? God dang. Yeah, so I'm going to try to keep this an hour every Monday, Wednesday.